Right, welcome to it. And of course, every Monday, we start off the day right here. We start off the week right here with Ms Aya Hlubi, where we all talking all things, the whole being. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am super. How are you doing?
You sound fabulous. Good. How was your weekend?
Oh man, weekend is a time for rest. So I was resting this weekend. I had a good one. Yeah. Spent some time with the people I love. But yeah, in the main, I got to rest a little bit, get some perspective.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And Bona, we would love to start the lunch vibe with you this afternoon and ask you the lunch vibe question of the day. You were the first commentator this one. Bona, before we get into the whole being this afternoon, so this weekend, we're going into the final voter registration, right?
Yes.
So it made me think, should political regalia be allowed at church? Can I put on my party jersey and go to the prayer tomorrow? What do you think, Ms. Aya?
No, definitely not. I'll tell you the reason.
Yeah.
I look at people, I admire people, and I respect people.
Yeah.
But lama political parties mina engawa understand the moment you wear such, I might lose respect for you a little bit. So ngala ukuthi usibe neutral. We're children of the Most High. Let's wear our own clothes to church.
Yeah.
I do not want to say angikholwa. How could you be wearing that? You are so ngala ukuthi ungayitshintshi perception enginayo ngawe.
Wow. Okay.
Imagine a worshiper in the front of the church there with a whole for Pete's sake, maybe IFP jersey.
Don't do it.
So that is Miss Aya's view. To send in yours on 067-153-1089. We're getting into the whole being this afternoon with Ms Aya Hlubi. And where are we this afternoon? Last week we did talk about boundaries. I got a lot of feedback on that one. A lot of people sharing the fact that was so educational and it meant a lot. That will go into, someone said, actually, I'm going to add that to my vision board to have set my boundaries, express my boundaries, and make sure people know my boundaries. Where are we this afternoon, Miss Aya?
I love it. I love that people give feedback after the show. I love that so much because yabona iyasitshela ukuthi we are headed the right direction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think for me personally, my favorite remains the first one that we had that spoke about discipline.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I feel like God is dealing with me in not a great way. Like I know God is dealing with me this year. So I was at home and I was really fooling around today, not doing anything that was worthwhile. And then a word was like, but why are you spending your time on this?
Oh.
And there's nothing to do. I'm just resting. So one of my favorite lines, and I normally would say this when, somebody passes on, somebody I admire, somebody I love, and I go, the problem is we think we have time.
Yeah, that's true.
The problem is we think we have time. And that's what I kind of want us to talk about today. So, So the problem is we think we have time. I thought I had time this weekend, and the Holy Spirit was like, really now?
Yes.
You could be doing something productive with your time.
Yeah.
So got my notes and started just doing, just preparing for this for today. And I just want to focus on time.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very important.
So as always, we start by acknowledging that, I'm not just sucking things out of my thumb, but God created time. Right? Genesis 1:14 reads, then God said, let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, the days and years. So God created time. So how we use it is then important.
Yes.
Okay, so I love that you've just mentioned that people are putting boundaries on their vision board.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, right? Because we are starting, our year. I know some churches are concluding or have already concluded their fast for January. Abanye sebaluze iweight, siyababongela. Yeah. But so it's so beautiful, that, we are actually starting our year on the right note. We're gearing up for an awesome year, and we've started with prayer. So now it becomes up to you, you, me, and not anyone else to have the burden of deciding how are you going to spend the next 11 months.
Yes.
How are you going to spend it? Because that will determine whether you have a good year or not. How you are going to spend the next 11 months. So having that vision board is going to keep you accountable, right? Because now you have this visual representation of what your plans are, what your goals are that you want to achieve before this year is over or before the next 2 years is over. Okay, so it's kind of siyahamba. I heard the beginning of your show, you said it's end of January. Like, oh my goodness, it's kind of siyahamba.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the truth of the matter is the person that you become, what you become is totally dependent by how you're going to use your time.
Yes.
Right. So, but what is time? When someone says I'm 30 years old, this is the amount of time they've been living. So life is measured. Life is actually qualified and determined by time.
By time, yeah.
Right. So time is what we use to buy life.
Yes.
Right. I'm 30 years old. So therefore, it's just the currency. So until you die, you are actually being held hostage by time.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That's insane, right? Would see, a lot of us are just like, when we go sweet by and by, but you can't because you still exist in time. So we are all held hostage by time.
I've never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Right? So now when I always say, if someone gives you their time, they've given you the most precious gift because, that's their time. They can't get it back. They can't say you've wasted it, rewind, I take it back to send. You can't do that. Time is always just, we're losing time all the time. So when someone gives you their time, they say time is money. You can't get it back. So that's why it's so important that we get into spaces that are going to fuel us. We do things that set our hearts on fire, right? So, and that is the reason why when friendships end or a relationship ends, what hurts the most is, oh my gosh, 2 years yami yonke. Oh my God.
13, 14, 15, 16 years I'm young.
We understand that. It's It determines how impactful that breakup is going to be because you're like, I could have bought a house, all these dinner dates, all of these, I could have done something better with my time.
Yeah, I could.
Because we understand that. So time. So we all have 24 hours every day.
Yes.
Right? But it seems like people don't use their 24 hours the same. Some people do things that are going to bring them money. People are using their 24 hours so well. And then there are the others who will be binge watching my series. And you're just like, what have you been doing this week? And you cannot remember doing anything that was actually valuable.
Wow. So,
right? So 24 hours of the day, how are you using it? Because I think whenever we make plans, we always think you just get to the plan. But the plan, actually you getting to it is those small steps that you take every day to get to your goal. It's always how you're using the 24 hours today that determines if you're getting closer to your goal or further from your goal. So time is important.
Yes. Isikhathi.
Isikhathi, ixesha.
Ixesha limkile.
Yeah. And, you get people that do certain professions and they get to be called doctors and we admire them so much. But what did they do? They were in med school for 7, 8 years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's how they spent their time.
Yeah.
So we admire people who are celebrating 10 years of a happy marriage. And I need to emphasize that they are happy because some people are just married. But those who are happy in their marriages, 10 years, we admire that, but we don't take, into cognizance they actually spent time to build the relationship. They made the environment conducive for themselves, for each other, so that they can have this happy marriage. So it is about time.
Yeah.
Right? And the people who have these amazing empires, they build businesses from scratch. And we look at them and we go, yo. And it was all about time. Building a sustainable business, a growing business takes time. So it has to be about how are you spending your time?
But how do we then make an allocation, Ms. Aya, when it comes to, for example, the example that you used, one weekend, maybe I decide I'm going to binge watch some series. How do we take a break away from the normal, the hard work, away from actually not reading a book, just have a kickback? Should we have a way to factor that into our time? Because obviously time wasted is never regained. I know that part. But how do we kick back and relax in that space?
Sure. So I went to an event, one of these women's events, and there was one of the speakers that said, when you read a profile, you're like, oh my gosh, you can't wait to hear. And then she stood in the front, and this was after she obtained her master's, and I don't think she was working on something else. And she was going to God and saying, God, what do I do next? And the Holy Spirit said, rest.
Ooh. All right.
Rest.
I was like, hi, bo, this is a different God. We want to be busy.
We want to be at work.
God also created rest, so that's also important. I'm not saying let's be zombies, mind just 24 hours.
Yeah.
Rest is also important. But I do have a problem with someone who has a whole month where they cannot go and say, okay, this is what I did this week. This is what I obtained. This is, we understand, are you someone who has a plan? Umuntu ozothi no ngingaqala ngathi Showmax ngathi Netflix hayibo kanjani a whole 4 weeks that you can't account for. No ways.
Yeah.
God is not pleased with that. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, that's true. If you're joining us for the first time, we are in conversation with Ms. Aya Hlubi right here on The Whole Being with Ms. Aya. And this afternoon, we're driving a conversation around time. And my weekend, I think I wasn't progressive enough this weekend. I watched some series, went to a festival, and those kind of things.
Yes. I just want to know... Emadodeni ubheka idiski for many hours, is that binge watching or it only applies to ladies for series?
Oh goodness. If you know what, we all have those things that we do to rest, to just take some time out, to distress, right? There's nothing wrong with that. If soccer for you is what, just gets your mind off work and things like that, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're watching soccer the whole day and then tomorrow repeat, no.
Highlights. Recap.
I know it's the African Cup of Nations, but hello. Hi, boy.
All right, let's continue right there with time as we continue to manage our time better, because that's one lesson already I've learned. I've got to manage my time better. And let's continue, Ms. Aya.
Okay, so how are we spending our time? I think it's so important that because we have, you have your vision board, you have your plans, you know what you want to achieve this year. I think on the first show, we spoke about procrastination and how if you don't have time schedules, if you don't have deadlines for your goals, it is going to be problematic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So having the time schedule, having deadlines is what will keep you accountable. So manage your time well. And also, while you are managing your time, spend it on things that you love. Spend it on things that you're passionate about. I teach. I love that so much. However, whenever I do things for the whole woman, for the NPO, I feel like that fuels me in such an incredible, incredible way. And I would not mind taking off hours of sleep because I'm doing something that makes me happy. That thing with him, if you're doing what you love, you don't really feel like it's work.
Yes.
Right? So for me, that's important. When you manage your time, do what you need to do, because you need to pay your bills, but also dedicate some time to do things that set you on fire, that really fill your cup as well, that is able to make you be better for the other areas of your life. So manage your time in those things. Spend it with people that you love and people that love you back. Oh, that is so important. I think the amount of time that we spend on social media to get people to be, our followers, to like us so much. Oh, because us, we want bookings as well. You need an MC, you're getting married, you need a wedding planner. We want to put ourselves out there. But we spend so much time trying to get the affirmation from people. We spend so much time getting people in our corner. That I feel like is such a waste, because at the end of the day, people will think what they want. And we cannot, there's a saying, man, awusi imali angeke bakuthande bonke.
Yes, yeah.
Right,
awusi imali. So be okay that some people won't get you, and don't spend, your time actually just, what can I do? Is there something that I said? Boundaries. If people don't like something, let them be adult enough to say, Aya, I need to see you. We need to talk about this. 1, 2, 3. We walk our separate ways if I lungisegi. So I think it's so important that we spend our energy on things that actually matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Spend your energy kwizinto that matter. I also like that phrase yokuthi awusi imali never sikuthande zonke.
Hey.
Unless mawukhwehlela wena ukhipha ama 200, hayi vele nami I'm going to be your bestie.
Yes.
Wow.
So also don't spend, we also have this tendency of lingering on our past mistakes and disappointments. Let's learn to give ourselves a break.
Yeah, give yourself a break. Yes.
Like handle yourself with more grace. I think that for me is so important. You might have had a plan and it didn't work out, and now you're like, I should have. Now this is what's playing on repeat in your mind. You're wasting time. On to the next. Learn to move on, because time is what we do not have.
Yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah, especially because one thing is I want to like must linking, and we just like putting the brain on loop. Looping is into the negative things, and it's the worst way because never cool. I think we should accept to lose things sometimes.
Yeah, we have to be okay with letting things go.
Yes.
And there is a difference between losing and letting go, right? Can you unpack that for us as a leader, as someone who speaks around conversation of becoming a whole being? What is the difference when we say I let go and of losing?
Okay, so losing, right? I think because I'm talking to guys, I can say this.
Yeah.
When you lose, you are playing against a certain team that did better than you.
Yeah.
You lost the game.
Yes.
It happens.
Okay.
You lost the game, okay? You lost there. We make peace with it. The supporters are upset. Abanye, they go as far as talking trash. Ex, coach is not doing his job.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yes.
Right? But there are certain things that, for me, I am able to let go if a space becomes toxic. Then I let that go. I didn't lose. I'm letting it go because it's not adding value to who I want to become. It's not conducive for my growth, so I let it go. So I think that there's a difference between losing and letting go. Letting go is a decision that you make. And sometimes you lose money because of bad decisions. And then if it's money, you have to let that go too, because it happened.
Hey. Tough one.
That's a really tough one. Ms. Aya this afternoon came on a tough morning and it took an AK-47. It's really dealing with certain things in our lives that we didn't want to accept, but really time affects a lot of things. Let's wrap it up, Ms. Aya, with going through a little bit more that you have for us during this Monday on the whole being.
Okay. Also, a tip on how we can use our time wisely is to develop and build yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Develop and build yourself. If you are gifted in something, work on the gift. Make it, bring money for you. I heard something. So, Zahara, may her soul rest in peace. So she had an interview and she was saying she taught herself how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive. Like, oh my gosh. And then she says, to this day, I don't know what string I'm playing. I'm like, I never that. Never, ever. No. I refuse that. If you are gifted in something, develop, learn how to use it so that you can be better, so that it can be excellent.
Yeah.
Right? You don't just say, yeah, vele mina ngispeak, makufika mina bayangizwa. To this day, I listen to TED Talks. I read books. I want to get better in the craft. I want to express myself better. You develop and build yourself so that your gift can be excellent. You don't get comfortable and say, "Mangene mina." I win. Aibo, kanjani?
You speak. I mean, that was hot. I gotta give it to you. That was hot.
Hey, wow, no. Let's not be comfortable where we are. You should never get comfortable. I have notes for my students. Okay, so there's usually a subject that I'll teach every semester. I don't go, so recycle, I know what I'm doing. No, information changes. What was relevant 2 years ago is not relevant now. So it's up to me to read up-to-date journals, to go on YouTube and say, what are they saying about this topic, so that I get up-to-date information. You never get comfortable and saying, you always have to build yourself. You always want to get better. I went to an interview on Asylum Life a couple of years ago. And that the presenter asked me a question that, I felt like, I've never gotten this question before. And Joe said this to me. So, Aya, if you could be anyone, who would you want to be? And I said, I want to be me in the future. I want to know, what does Ayanda accomplish in 10 years? Because this is what's going to keep me working harder. I want to be me in the future. I want to meet that person and say, so, girl, is the whole woman now an international brand? Are you chilling with the likes of Sarah Jakes Roberts? Like, what's Agalani, babes? Because this is what I'm working towards. I'm building a brand. I want to know, Uguti, me wanting for it to be better, me wanting to be a better speaker than I was the last time. Is it going to yield results in the future? Because you should never be comfortable where you are.
Wow.
I mean, the parable of the talents. Can't say I'll bury mine. Gajani. Work. You keep working on your gift. You keep working.
Wow. Keep working on your gift and make sure that you're becoming the better version of yourself. If you're writing down, I think she's got a few more points for you in terms of how to make sure that you make full use of your time productively. That's one important thing, to be productive in the use of your time. Let's continue, Ms. Aya, the last 5 minutes of that conversation as we continue right here on The Whole Being with Ms. Aya Hlubi.
All right. Then I'd like for us to take ownership of our time by being intentional on how we use it. You know, if it means you need to have a checklist about what you need to do this week, write it down so that you can go and tick. It's okay. Check, this has been done. Check, this has been done. This is you being intentional about iskati that you have. Okay. Have you guys watched the movie Coming to America?
Yes, I've watched it.
Yes.
The first one, the real one, not this other thing.
Oh my word.
Sometimes sequels don't work, but a sequel up. So the very first movie, right at the end, Hakeem is getting married and he's assuming he's going to marry the woman that the parents had been grooming to marry him since a young age, right? But Magati Ivel, babes, Wanaguti, it's Lisa, the love of his life that he met in America. Avele akabuze uLisa again uHakeem because he's excited. And then the announcer goes, Your Highness, we have not come to that part yet. He does not stop. Why the what, Your Highness? Your Highness.
Your Highness. Ooh, yeah.
Right? So a lot of the times we don't want to put in the effort. We just want that part. But we're not putting in the work. We're not laying the groundwork. So but we are this generation of we want isn't the instant. We want something that happens right now.
Microwave generation. Microwave success.
That, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be so deliberate to create a name for yourself. You need to be able to put in the work because anything that is worth having, unfortunately, requires time. I mean, you can do something stupid and trend on social media, but that's not going to last.
Yeah.
Anything that is worth building, worth having, is going to require you to put in the work and to put in the time. Because at the end of the day, we don't have time.
Wow.
So how we use it is important. And let me just close with Psalm 39, verse 4. From the NLT version says, Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Like, just remind me. And it says, remind me that my days are numbered and how fleeting my life is. So I think we could all just do so much better and make better use of our time if we remember how brief our time on earth is actually going to be. Remind us, oh God, that our days are numbered and how fleeting our life actually is. So it's my desire that we live life intentionally and we make a difference and we do what we are supposed to be doing. Not what everybody else is doing, but what are you supposed to do? Where is your garden? And let's use that time to better ourselves and to better the lives of people around us.
Let's use that time to better ourselves and better the people around us. Those are the closing words from Ms. Aya this afternoon. And really, this topic, I think it really hits home with me because sometimes we get lost in the world, we get lost in what we're doing, and we sometimes lose our focus on the fact that iskati siyahamba. Ms. Aya, thank you so much. Iskati
now it's so angosha ngoba isikhathi sesihambile, you understand?
I know what the shots. True.
Namhlanje uvele waphakamisa AK47 what I am going to deal. How do we connect with you beyond the radio station, beyond the whole being? How do we connect with you, Ms. Aya?
Ms Aya Hlubi on social media and the Whole Woman SA on Instagram. Let's get the conversation going there.
Absolutely. Let's get the conversation and let's keep the conversation going. I really appreciate your time and I really appreciate you connecting with us right here on Hope Alive Radio to change and shape our listeners for a better future. Coming through with a comment, Caesar Noguhle saying, thank you so much for sharing this with us this afternoon, Ms. Aya. I am really encouraged. Michael coming through, sending us a comment to say, the bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot.
Come on, somebody. That's beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much once again. We're empowered and we really love the fact that you always come through and you've brought in a very different perspective to our Mondays and we can never be the same again. Sabonga Kulu for making us the better versions of ourselves step by step. Sabong.
To God be the glory. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ms Aya Hlubi. Do make sure that you follow her across all social media platforms. She's Miss MS. That Miss is spelled MS and it's intentional. We're going to talk about it sometime when we have a studio. She's going to tell you more about it. But right now it's exactly 1 o'clock. Let's get the latest news.